Hi everyone, it's Karen here. Welcome to another video with me. Today I'm going to share with you how I created these lovely folding wallets. So I've created them in single tones, but you can create them in any colours you like and any size you like. You can see this one's an A4 size, this one's slightly smaller, and the one that I'm going to be sharing with you today will be just a little smaller than that. But you can scale them up or down as you like. I'm super excited to be able to bring this to you with the theme, Let's Get Arty. So you can use whatever stencils you've got, whatever mark making tools you've got. Look at the lovely textures, colours, shapes we've got in this one. And the blue one is just as cool. So much fun. And you know, this is a great project if you've kind of lost your mojo and you kind of don't know what to do. This is fabulous fun. So any stencils, you can see how well loved these are. Look at them. Any stencils from your stash. I'm going to use these three. You want some mark making tools. I always keep little pots or bottle tops. This is the lid of a deodorant bottle and a spritzy bottle, something or another. But these are, so you want different sized circles here. I'm going to use these three. You also want a credit card or one of those store cards. I always keep a stash of them, just you never know when you might need them or want them. So those are to make our marks. We're going to want some paintbrushes. You're going to want a little brad or a little button or something for your clasp. Haven't quite decided what colours yet, so I've just picked a few out of my stash ready. You'll want a bit of glue so that we can glue it together at the end for this one. And then your colours. So I'm using Paperartsy fresco acrylic paints. Any acrylic paints will do. And I've just got, let me show you here. There you go. Some lights, darks. So something to give you a bit of contrast. And then we want a white. White makes everything pop. You can see by these, there's a few white bits here. And that just makes it all pop. And anything else that you've got that you think might make fun marks. So we're going to be doing it on watercolour card. This is 300 GSM, which is £140 card. And the one that I'm going to be sharing with you today is 21 centimetres by 15 centimetres. But as I said, you can make them any size you like. I am using cold pressed, which has got a bit of a texture. I like the texture because it just adds to the overall feel and texture of the lovely covers. You'll obviously want some water for your brushes. I'm just going to pop something here behind what I'm working on. It's really that fun and that easy to get started. So I'm just gonna start with a colour. Now, as I said, this is a great project. If you've lost your mojo, don't know how to get started. I'm just gonna dip my brush in my water just here a little, get it started. Yeah. Because why is it a great project for that? Because you don't need to overthink it. You really don't need to think too hard about anything. I do find painting like this so therapeutic. It's really just, there you are. So a few marks with the light colour. I'm not even going to wet my brush. I'm just wiping it off on a cloth. Oh, let's try this one. Globe Thistle, this is. Yep. So we're just going to lay a bit of colour down on the background here, not thinking too much about it. And let's go with this one. These are all a bit samey. That's okay. The background we want to be a little paler than what we're going in with the rest, because it's the marks on the top that will give us that lovely contrast. Oh, that's a beautiful colour. What's that? Mauve. So you can see the way I'm laying this down. I'm just going vertically and horizontally. I'm not kind of going diagonally across the page, because that will give me too much of a mess, because on top of it I am going to be filling it with all sorts of other colours. So I'm going to mix this. It's a bit dark, that one, for my background. So let's just bring in something. There we go. So you see how much fun this is? You don't have to think too hard about it. I'm going to keep this to the edges because I really don't want anything too dark here. And the great thing about these particular paints is that they dry really quickly, and they have the most fantastic colour range. But like I say, any colours. And that is your first layer. Okay, so what I did was I just let this dry naturally, and I cleaned myself up a bit here, made a bit of space, and now onto a separate sheet, or however you like to do your paint, I've just put a couple of blobs of different coloured paints. Definitely some white, as I said, we want that to make it pop, some darker colours and a lighter colour, and I just set that next to me. I've got my mark making tools at the ready. The other thing that I didn't mention was some cut and dry foam. You can use a cheap makeup sponge. Your brushes tend to bleed through the stencil with this technique, but certainly give it a go. As I say, this one's just, there are no rules here, so let's just play and have some fun. So I'm going to pick up one of my stencils, doesn't matter which one. As you can see, how many layers of paint. I think there's more paint on this than there is actual thickness of stencil, but never mind. We're just going to place it down, and then using some cut and dry foam, so that's got a bit of a hard surface on one side and it's really nice and soft and foamy on the other side. So when I'm using paint through stencils, I will take a bit of paint here and just make sure that it's not too thick and it's not too gloopy on the sponge, because otherwise it will bleed through and you won't get a nice definite line on your piece of work. So you can see I'm gently tapping till you can just, so you can see how nice and crisp that image is. No bleed through, because I'm not pushing it too heavily down, and there isn't very much paint on this stencil. In this pouncing motion, there you go. Now, some of them we're going to get a fade out. So like that, some of them you want definite lines, others a fade out. And we're just now going to pop some of these on the rest of the card. And you can see why I made this smaller for the video, because you can take quite a bit of time here playing and creating the layers and the design that you love. So certainly no overthinking allowed with this project. Just a bit of fun. Voila, we will leave that for now. As I said, and as you can see, lots and lots of layers on this project, so we don't need to overdo any particular piece of it. I'm now going to pick up my second stencil here and using a different colour, again this same, taking the paint off so that I only have a little amount on my sponge. Much rather build up the layers, making multiple applications, than having it bleed through the stencil. Don't worry if you think, oh, I don't like that bit. By the time you have put all the layers on, you will be loving it. I might go back in with a bit of the dark colour for the middle here. And you can see by not going all the way to the edge, you kind of get this layered and faded look. Isn't that looking fun already? Pick up my third stencil. Now I'm going to keep it again vertically or horizontally, and I might just go in with a bit of lighter one here again. Oh no, we'll go with one in the middle. Now if you're going with something a bit darker and you're not quite sure, I often keep it to the edge until I'm sure, because either A, you can cut it off if you don't like it, or B, you can disguise it by darkening the edges. Now I'm going to go in with either a credit card or a store card that has expired, don't worry, and I'm just going to tap it in my paint. And look, some of those little key cards, you know, the tiny ones from store cards that you put on your key ring, they work pretty well with this technique too. So look, just gonna have fun. Have fun. Do a couple close together. It really, you don't want them all the same height either. I'm just going to go back in with my circle stencil because I just want to fill in some of that. I know I've still got my bottle caps and marks. Look, I've still got loads to do there, but I do want to fill in some of this centre. But as I said, whatever speaks to you, however you want to do it. You can layer them on top of each other. Look, lighter colour dots with darker or vice versa. There is really no rules here. Now when you feel like you've got it fully covered, remembering to go to some of the edges, we're going to start with our bottle caps. Now the way I just do that is I'll just go round my blob of ink till I'm kind of, you don't want huge blobs, and again you can see I'm tapping it off because you don't want huge blobs of it. I like to have the circles joining so that it doesn't look like they're completely random floating in midair. So you can see I'm tending to do threes. I like to keep those odd numbers going like that. And now I'm going to come in with a smaller top. Some of the circles in the center. I'm loving that for now. I need to take my little one now. And I'm going to have a little play with some of these ones. And you can even put some of the circles inside some of the others. Look at that. Isn't that joyful? And as I said, if you do a piece and you think, ew, I don't really like that one, in the scheme of it, you won't really notice. When it all comes together, you will love it. So here you can see what we've got is nice and dry. You need to keep drying it off in between some of your layers just so that you don't get any smudges. So I made some of these with the back of a pencil. I just dabbed it in the paint. I thought I could have some solid marks. Now, it's looking a little dark to me. So I'm going to get another stencil with some more circles and I'm just going to put some white over the top of it. Find the gaps, take some of my white, again, very same as we did before, and ever so lightly. You can see again, I start on the edge, just going to lift it. These can be a little more definite than some of the others because A, because it's white, and B, because you want this to start lifting some of the background. So here I'm loving this a whole lot better now. And you know what, if you get to a point where you're not loving it, just add another layer and see, because it just adds to the overall interest. Now we're just going to make sure that this is completely dry, and I'm going to clear up all the rest of it before we construct our little envelope. Okay, so here we have our gorgeous little card. Now, if you didn't want to make it into a wallet, that makes a really lovely journal page background. You could make that into a card and put something dramatic on the top of it. But today I'm going to show you how I made the little folding wallet. Now, the ones that I did previously had inserts. The one that I'm going to show for you today just is a little wallet all on its own. So as I said, the dimensions that I was working with was 21 centimetres by 15 centimetres. And so I'm going to score it at 7 centimetres and 16 centimetres. Now, if you were going to do one of those folding wallets that you had some inserts, you'll see I've done 2 folds to give you the depth that you'll need for the folding wallets. But as this is not, I'm just going to do a single fold. And this side as well. Oh, look at that. I'm absolutely loving it. Cute, cute. Now, you can secure the sides however you like. You can use washi tape, you can use glue, you can darken the edges. Now, I'm going to put my brad. What brad shall we have? Actually, I'm going to go with this one. I quite like this one. Don't overthink it. I'm not. I'm going to go with this one. So I'm just going to draw in the centre where I want that little brad. Just making sure that it still covers on the inside there. Then with my pokey tool, just going to make a hole that my brad can go through. Okay, so we're just ready. Haven't done anything with it. What I am going to do is I am going to darken the edges, and then I'm going to put some tape down here. So I just darkened the edges with some Distress Oxides and my smoothie just all the way around there. And then I stuck some of this red little tape on either side here. So actually I'm going to put my brad in first. Just going to put my brad Do you know what? I really don't like that brad. I am going to stick with my heart. Much better. Now, if you wanted to, you could put a piece of card on the back here to hide that. But I'm really okay with it. And then I'm just going to pop. Just making sure that your sides, if you've scored it well, it should, but making sure that your sides are nice and flush there. Lovely. Look at that tiny little pocket. How lovely. I am just going to use my corner rounder punch and just look at that. That finishes it off really nicely there. I'm going to use a bit of cotton twine here, but hey, anything you like from your stash. And I'm just going to tie it around the brad. Might actually do it this way. Halve the cotton. And I just eyeballed how long I wanted it, because you can always just chop it off afterwards. And then I'm just going to half knot, tie it round the brad. And then we're just going to wrap this around. And there you have your little, we can secure it by tying it around the brad again. And you've held your little wallet in place. Just look at that. Isn't that a cute little pocket? So if I was going to make this any bigger, then I would, as I have here, used an insert. This is just copy paper that I cut to the same size and glued down the middle to create that concertina there. So there we have it. Thanks so much for watching. I would love to see your makes. Please tag me so I don't miss them. And until the next time, bye for now.